We need a guy like Tim Tebow, who's a hometown hero, who has love for the city anyway. All right. He's going to be a great support for Trevor Lawrence on whatever capacity that is. Whatever capacity that is, it's going to be a positive rather than a negative.
Jimmy Smith, by the way, is the Jaguars' all-time leader in receptions and receiving yards and in touchdown catches. Bart Scott, I'm trying to read your face. It's not always easy to do. What is your reaction?
I'm trying to understand what the hell Jimmy Smith is talking about. First of all, I want Tim Tebow as close away from my quarterback room as possible. I don't want him saying anything. What can he tell him about playing quarterback in the NFL? He didn't do that at a very high level. Listen, I understand that you talk about everything that Tim Tebow brings to the picture. As somebody that was in that locker room, let me tell you what Tebow does bring. He's going to bring a distraction to a third-string tight end position. He's going to be over there doing press conferences talking about, the look teams and what he's trying to do. Watch him try to be like the look team scout quarterback. He's always eyeing. Listen, we all understand that you have to turn the page. And I say it all the time, athletes die two deaths. They die their natural death, and they die the death that they have the day that they take the uniform off. Tim Tebow has been resuscitated more times than Michael Myers. I appreciate it for what he is and who he is as a person, but you got to let it go, man. You got to let it go. I mean, Mike T is sitting on this set, and he asked him to play tight end, and he didn't want to play tight end, right? And listen, he can say all he wants about, Tim Tebow, he looks good, he got all these popcorn muscles, but I'm telling you what, he's going to be dealing with some trained killers, and I think it's a shame that he's coming back and he's taking the opportunity from a young kid that's played the position his entire life and dreamed for an opportunity. Tim, you had your opportunity. You had your opportunity to change positions. It didn't work out. Don't be phoning a friend in. If you want him to help your organization, make him the head at player development, because there's nothing that Tim Tebow can do on a football field that can help your team win.
Okay, so your position is very well staked out, and I appreciate it. I want to make clear for anyone who's not aware, what you're referring to is the 2012 season in which Tebow was on the Jets and you were on the Jets. And people talk about the circus. They talk about the distraction. Can you give us a sense of exactly what that really is like? You're a player on that team. Bart, what was it actually like?
He's just going to be taking a shine, right? He came in there. He never understood that the reason that we brought him in is because we lost Brad Smith. And I don't want to be putting words in Tannenbaum's mouth, but we brought him in because we wanted the Wildcat, because he had beat us the year before. He's sitting up here running through the water like David Hasselhoff. Like, if you watch this is the worst ran route. I got kids in Little League that run out routes better than that. And he ducked. Who the hell ducked? You're getting the ball. He's running through the water like David Hasselhoff when this is Mark Sanchez's team. And like he's out there burping the baby. We're out at practice. Like, bro, you have been holding the ball for 25 seconds. You would be dead by now. Then it turns to a scramble drill. We get nothing out of the drill because he's burping the damn baby. He's making somebody go damn pull a damn hamstring. And then he's doing a press conference after practice about what he did on the damn punt team. Who cares? Listen, it's not about you, man. And sometimes you got to understand that you can't live life in the spotlight forever, man. It dims for everybody. You have to walk away. You took good, meaningful spots for guys in the Mets. Now you come in, you're going to do the same thing here. Listen, Urban Meyer is risking losing his locker room because he's going to be on the team and have Tim Tebow there, and he can't help them in any capacity. And he's going to lose his locker room because they're going to say, I guess it's about who you know and about what you can do and paying your dues. He ain't paid no dues, man. And that's going to be disrespectful. He's going to be a marked man. He's going to be asking for, you know what, I think I bet. Listen, much like Pat White when he got hit on the sideline, he came in the game a football player. He left with a baseball cap and went to baseball. Somebody's going to knock Tim Tebow head off.
I'm very glad I asked. Bart Scott, thank you very much. With that thought in mind, Mike Tannenbaum, is anyone actually going to get the chance to do that? In your opinion, how would you assess the chances that Tim Tebow is actually on the 53-man roster in September?
If Tim Tebow is on the roster on opening day in Jacksonville, it will eviscerate Urban Meyer's credibility, and let me tell you why. It will send the absolute wrong message to the locker room that we are not basing decisions based on merit for a lot of the reasons that Bart's soliloquy just alluded to. But he's not one of the 53 best players. And if the message is sent that relationships will drive decisions, they will never have a winning team in Jacksonville. Houston will be excited. Tennessee will be excited. The Houston Texans, everyone else in the division will be excited that they're making decisions based on Urban Meyer's relationships, and they'll have no chance to win in Jacksonville. There's no conceivable way that a 34-year-old quarterback who hasn't played in 10 years, who we did try to play in a lot of different positions, is going to be one of the 53 best players. So I think there's no chance he makes this team.
So sitting where I sit, Dan Graziano, that feels to me like the line of delineation, or bringing him in to be one of 90 guys in training camp at whatever actually the purpose of that is in Urban Meyer's mind. That feels to me to be one thing, probably comparatively harmless, at least in my opinion. Others certainly might disagree. Once it goes further down the line than that, I can see it becoming an entirely different thing. Graziano, what do you think?
I think that's right. And I think that, a lot of the people I've talked to this week kind of come down there, like saying, look, I mean, it's training camp. There's 90 guys on a training camp roster. It's not the first time someone's been brought in because they had a relationship with the coach or the GM. That happens all the time. It's not the first time, you've seen kind of a gimmicky thing done. Reminds me a little bit of, remember when Garth Brooks was in spring training with the Mets? Billy Crystal, I think, batted in a spring training game for the Yankees. I mean, these kinds of things do happen, and they don't do any real harm. I think the right way to react to this is somewhere between Jimmy Smith and Bart Scott. Ultimately, I don't think this does any real damage. I understand why you might be annoyed or upset about it because, yes, I mean, you want the thing to be a meritocracy. The fact of the matter is, this happens all the time with coaches and GMs bringing guys with them that played for them or that they knew from a previous stop. You just don't want it to be so obvious. And I think the fact that Tebow's been out so long and this seems so silly to so many people, I think that makes it a little bit too naked in terms of, this being a relationship-driven decision as opposed to a merit one. But Greeny, I think you're right. I think if he goes to training camp and then it sort of fades away, then this whole thing does as well.
I must say, the comparison to Garth Brooks with the Mets.
The last time Tebow was relevant.
The Garth Brooks and Billy Crystal strikes me as just a funny comparison. I don't know why. Maybe I'm the only one. Anyway, as we go on here, the next topic, this is something Teddy Bruschi brought up yesterday, okay? For the first time, and you're well aware of this, for the first time in NFL history, there is a Week 18 this year because there were 17 games. And you look, this is some of the matchups that final week of the season. But yesterday here on this program, Teddy Bruschi offered some very interesting insights onto how teams might handle players with this extra game. Listen.
They look at it, it's like, man, this is a brutal stretch right here, and we've got player X that's not feeling so well, so we got 17 of them now. Do we take him out of this game to make sure he's healthy? Those type of conversations in terms of load management in the NFL. I know this is usually an NBA thing and a basketball thing, but now they can start to enter the conversation possibly.
So that sent a little chill down my spine. Anyone who's ever listened to me on the radio or elsewhere knows I do not favor load management. But I understand what he's saying in the context of, and Bart, as a player, I'm really interested to hear your perspective. We were that started because we were talking about how the Washington football team finishes with 5 straight division games, right? Critical, their last 5 games. So he was saying, leading up to that, right, maybe you load manage a player here or there to make sure they're ready for that stretch. 17 games now, Bart. What do you think?
I mean, we always have periods of the schedule where we look at, okay, do we have an early bye? Do we have a late bye? So this is something that has been happening a lot of times anyway. You may not see it on game day, but you've got the 30 and over club when you hear about guys not practicing, trying to make sure that they can save their legs, especially if you're older, if you have a lot of snaps. They monitor your